Hey, welcome to podcast episode number 72. Today we have Herlene Yu. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. It's funny, Herlene, I've never met you apart from today.
Yeah.
But I seem to know every single person around you.
Yeah.
Except you.
Lots of mutuals.
Even your sister, right? Your sister did a internship at this clinic during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I remember she was talking about her little sister that does triathlon, but...
oh, really? She registered me?
Yeah. Yeah, she did. Because she spent like two months or something here.
Yeah. It was like during COVID. We couldn't get back.
Yeah, everyone was stuck in Singapore, so they did their attachment here, and it counted to her degree. Yeah. It's great. You're doing physiotherapy in Perth right now, so it's great that we have you, because you seem to be hard to catch. You back and forth, I guess, quite a lot. What do? You just come back here to race, and then you go back to Perth to...
Yeah, so usually when I travel to races, I kind of transit here. Mm-hmm. It's always like the middle point. Mm-hmm. And I come back here and then go to races, and I usually try to spend some time at home when I come back.
Of course.
A few days, and then go back again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been living in Perth for what, 4 years or so?
Yeah, 4 years. So during COVID, I came back for 2 years and got stuck here. And I went back, so total will be like 4 or 5 years.
Okay. And when do you graduate? When are you officially done with physio?
So
you've been doing it for a while, right? Did you just, because of your racing and stuff and training, you just drew out the degree? Yeah,
so during COVID, we had to do part-time because we were here. So not all the classes. I mean, you could do online classes, but then...
Everything that's not physical, right?
Yeah, like cardio units are more physical. So you have to like go back and use the machines and, the mask and everything, teaching. So... yeah, we had to skip that, so we had to go back and like finish up unit. Yep. So then there was like part-time as well, and then when I went back, I chose to do part-time.
Okay.
Just to delay my course, and then and then get more time to train.
Live the student life just a little bit longer.
Like, there's no hurry, kind of graduating, so I can do that. Yeah.
And then I guess obviously you're going to be a physiotherapist when you finish full time. We're just going to go straight into it, or what do you want to do?
That's a tough question. So, I mean, I kind of have to do it to keep the accreditation.
Yes, of
course.
Because
you have to do like minimum hours. Mm-hmm. But if I can kind of get onto the visa, which is kind of a graduate visa, which
so you finish university in Australia, and then you can stay there if as long as you
work in your 2 years. Okay. Yeah, you have 2 years after graduation to kind of work there, and then
you decide to go on a PR, or something like that.
So I'll kind of work there for a bit, and then still do triathlon and try and do it as much as I can, and then
while you can as well, right?
Yeah, minimum hours of the year, and then see how far I can go in the sport. Yeah.
So you are current Singapore National Champion in sprint distance, right? Yeah. With just a few weeks ago, SRT. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, SRT happened. You won the year before, so you're like the back-to-back champion currently for sprint distance.
Yes, yeah.
Does that mean that you're going to even already put on the list for the SEA Games?
I would say it's kind of in consideration still. It's always up to SNOC or the TAS to kind of decide who they want to send. But yeah, kind of in the running for it.
Sure. And you've been to SEA Games, how many times before?
3 times. 3
times. And you got two medals, right?
Yeah. Okay. 2019, my first ever SEA Games. Yeah. And then we had 2 silver. So the mixed team relay, the triathlon and duathlon. Yep. And then I did Hanoi, Vietnam. Yep. And then Cambodia. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me just, how did you start in triathlon? I do my homework, right? I saw that you were a national swimmer when you were 16.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of the triathletes in Singapore seem to come that direction. Bryce, Luke.
Bryce.
Even Rachmati is also swimmers, right?
Yeah.
So you're sort of in that sort of mold, right?
Yeah. Actually, Nick, Luke, and I, we grew up together swimming APS.
Okay.
APS.
Oh, APS. Yes, he talked about that.
Yeah. So we swam together growing up, and then Luke transitioned first. I mean, he used to do triathlon for a long time. And then Nick and I came later, and for me especially, like I think 12, 13 was my peak in swimming. And then after that, I kind of...
Isn't it funny that you picked so early? Peaked so early.
I peaked very early.
Was it your PBs from when you're 13 you haven't beaten since?
12, 13, 14, yeah. And then, literally at those times that I was doing when I was like 14, I can't do that anymore. So, then I'm in a pool and I kind of shocking to hit those times, and I'm like, I could do it. And I was
But you made the national team, right? For
no, I represented Singapore at the CH, which is like SEA Games, but at a age group level for kids.
Yeah.
And we went to Da Nang, Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah, that year, and also ASEAN School Games.
Okay.
Swimming in Brunei. Yeah, those were my peak swimming days.
But then, but people don't realize, you see the people swimming in triathlon and they look fast, but you compare them to actual swimmers and they're not. They're it's actually quite a big gap.
Yeah.
Right. So you come off as a swimmer coming into triathlon, you blow away the field because the level is just not there, right?
Yeah, so but also you can't really compare because open water and water is so different. But obviously coming fresh off from swimming, they do have a very big advantage in them. Yeah. But then when you start to train bike and run, then the level of your swimming kind of drops down.
Just because the volume will be training as well, right?
It's quite natural, yeah. But obviously as a pro, you kind of have more time to train, so you can kind of bring the level back up. But for us now, it's always it's a hard balance.
Also, you're juggling 3 balls, right? On the 4, including rest, right? And then you can't favor, if you favor one, the other 2 are going to suffer.
Yeah.
Right? So when did you change and say, hey, let me try this triathlon thing? Or like, what's the deal?
After I kind of faked in swimming at 14, 15, then I kind of flirted to it for a long time.
Yep.
Started getting a bit like frustrated as
well. Yeah, sure.
Running. And then I was like, swimming's not really my thing anymore. And it got to a point where I was looking at pool and I was like, I can't even look at a pool anymore. So it was quite tough mentally. And then at that age, you don't really know what mental health is.
Yeah, of course.
So then I kind of struggled a lot with going back to training and everything. Then decided that I was like,
once you lose the spark, right? And you lose the urge, see. My daughter did the same thing. She's only 10, but she was doing 12 hours a week of gymnastics, right? Wow. And she loved it. She was doing at 10, right? And 3 hours, 4 times a week. And she loved it. And then she did it so much, she got an overuse injury of her ankle, of her foot, like a bone bruise. She had to spend 3 months off the foot. By the time she went back to gymnastics, she didn't have the spark anymore. She just gave up because she didn't like it. She just didn't feel like she wanted to go every time. And once you lose that, once you don't feel like you want to go to training, then it just becomes a drag. Right?
Starts feeling like a chore that you have to do it rather than I want to do it. So that's when I decided that I should probably explore something else because I felt that at that point I didn't really have anything else I could give to swim anymore. Like I couldn't really improve much, no matter how hard I was training. So I decided it was time to kind of take a step away from swimming and explore triathlon.
Yep. Yeah. So you just signed up for a race and then
no, actually, I didn't really know anything about triathlon, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom's side, we had a few uncles and aunties that did triathlon, so it was always the exposure there, and I was doing like a triathlon just for the fun of it. But nothing serious, because I didn't really run or train.
So I do my homework, right? And I have a picture of your first race.
Oh my gosh! Wait, no way!
That is a middle sprint. What's it? Is that like an aquathlon?
Yeah. Oh,
but look, you've got trophies there, so you must have done pretty well.
Yeah, I would. I mean, at that age, yeah.
So how old were you there? Your sister's doing an ACJC shirt, so you must have been still in school.
I was probably like 15, yeah. At that time when I was transitioning, or even before that, 14, yeah. Yeah, it was just kind of a fun thing.
Yeah. But then it looks like you're doing pretty well, so you just stuck to it, and then...
Yeah, but honestly, at that point in time, I didn't really train for running, so I always hated because I would swim, and I can swim.
Yep.
And then Tom said around, I would just die.
Yeah. So you try to hold off the runners as long as possible.
Yeah, and just hope that nobody catches me on the run. Yeah.
But then when did you realize actually you're pretty good at this? I want to stick with triathlon. When was that? Was there a turning point?
Yeah. So if I kind of draw back a little bit in time, so my mom's side, I had exposure to triathlon. One of my uncles, who's a teacher, he actually coached part time at SWCC.
Okay.
Coach Baden. Yeah, and then he was like, "Oh, why don't you come try running on the track? Is not any no pressure, anything. You don't put down triathlon." And I went for a few sessions, and I was like, "Oh, running's so hard."
I told you that you're gonna die. No.
Yeah, and then I think I was really struggling with running. But then there's this thing called ASTC training camp, so Asian Triathlon Development Camp or something for youth. So all of the countries. We have youth training camps, and we will go for the camps, and they had those like time trials at the end of the week, young camp. And yeah, I kind of won those, and they classify us into like gold, silver, bronze, and I get gold. And
So there must be something that's roughly hanging in it, right?
maybe I can actually do this.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in like Coach Faber's office and kept this like long Google sheet, and then it was like SEA Games in 2019, and then time I think it was like 2016, 17.
Okay.
And then it was like long-term goal.
Yep.
Like 2019, you can get to SEA Games, and I'm going, oh.
That's a 15-year-old. That's
You're
a
kidding.
daunting, right?
Yeah, I was like, why would I like even try for SEA Games? Yeah, but it's like, yeah, you can. You just like try, and then, yeah, started like exploring more, and then eventually qualified for SEA Games 2018, and then won 2 silvers, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, okay. You can't waste this. Can't waste this, right? So.
And then I realized there was like lots of opportunities in triathlon because you get to travel to different countries and meet new friends. And, yeah, it was quite fun.
Do you race very much in Australia, or do you mostly race in this area?
Asian
Yeah.
races, yeah.
So you don't just do roll up to the Bustleton 100 or anything?
But no, Barcelona just like long course for now. My coach doesn't know what to do. It's like once you get there, you're never coming back.
Yeah, but there's lots of like little local races that happen
Yeah.
like during the weekends, right, in Perth.
Yeah. So, but the season's very different. There was one year. I know in Perth there's this thing called like Toddy, which is like the triathlon of the year or what kind of thing. So you do like different races throughout the season, and then you get points.
Yeah.
You make points. I did that for 1 year, but their season starts in October, it ends in April.
Yeah, because it's summertime.
It's always like,
Yeah, it's during the Australian summer.
but that's when the Asian season ends.
Yeah, okay.
So
You read like 2-year long season, right?
that was like, no, I just like, because I did that once, and I was like,
Yeah, you get born out. Rewind back a little bit to 2018, right? You're in Hong Kong, you're doing a race, something happens, and you end up in the wheelchair, right? What's the story about that? That set you back for quite a long time, right?
yeah. So that was, I remember very clearly, that was the,
So you remember the whole incident, right? Because sometimes people, the memory will get deleted from them.
yeah. So it was that race in Hong Kong. It was in Champs in Hong Kong 2018.
So it was actually a pretty big race, Asian
Yeah,
Championship.
it was in Champs, and then the next race was YG qualifiers. Yeah, in Subic Bay. So that was my very last like lead up. And then the course is like out and back, and then you go uphill, and then you turn into this like small car park area.
So it was triathlon, right?
Yeah, it was
So you're done with the swim.
Yeah.
Were you in the front pack of the bike, or was it the second pack, or what
I
was
don't remember what pack it was, but it was config pack.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after the U-turn, it was like a straight downhill. And then I was like caught in the very edge of the bike pack closest to the curb. I tried to surf because I think everyone was so close to each other and like pushing everything. And then I kind of lost balance a little bit, and then
So you went off the road.
yeah, I hit the curb, and then like straight there was like a lamppost, so then I flew right in.
So you went straight into the lamppost.
Yeah.
Like basically head first, right?
Yeah.
Still kicked in.
Concussed. I don't remember how exactly I fell or hit the post, but I know it got bad.
Yeah, it would have been so fast that you wouldn't know anyway, right? I saw that your leg was in a cast.
Yeah.
Right?
So
And then you also had a sling, right?
so the collarbone was like a hairline fracture, so not like a full break.
Okay.
The knee was meniscus tear, and the ankle was I ruptured a few ligaments, and then talar dome as well, which is like an ankle injury.
So this is before you even thought about being. This is during still high school, right? You're not a physio student. You don't know.
Fun.
You didn't know anything about physiotherapy
Yeah.
back then, right? And then so I guess they put a plate in your arm, or just let it heal by itself.
Also-
Let's immobilize your arm,
You just kind of recover.
and then they would have had to repair all your ligaments, right?
No, the ortho doctor was just like, let it heal, because I was quite young at the time, and there wasn't any need for surgery to like repair
Okay.
everything. The ankle, pretty much everything was kind of like,
But you would have had to be in a boot for some time, right?
yeah, that
Were you in a wheelchair for like 6 months, or were you on crutches? What's the story?
so I think the wheelchair was kind of the initial like getting out of Hong Kong. And then Yeah, from the airport, everything, because I couldn't walk at all. And then once I got to Singapore, it was more like crutches in the hospital.
But you've got a broken collarbone, right? So you have like one crutch.
One on crutch, yeah.
So you like a pirate just walking her out.
Yeah, I remember going to school and it just looked so bad because it was just like, like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, one whole side is normal, and then the other whole side is like all wacky.
Yes, my best friend in school, like, meet me out of school. My dad would, like, pick her up from the bus stop and then drive to school, and then she would carry my bag and, like, throughout the day.
Did you get the beloved, the mythical lift pass when you had it?
Yeah.
How did you have it?
But the lift was always so fast from everywhere. It was always like, go to the lift, but still have to walk. Like.
Okay. How long did it take you to get back at least normal again, for one, and then how long did it take you to get back into like race shape?
Yeah.
Right?
So it was 5 months of recovery, 5-6 months. It was half a year. 3 months was like completely on the boat, not much walking, weight bearing. And then after that, suddenly once the boot came off, it was more like weight bearing as tolerated, which is like as much as you can tolerate.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you get back to learning how to walk. And
You know the funny thing, when you opened, we said that I knew all these people around you, and as I was printing out the photos, right, I was looking at the photo of your rehab, and this is Sarah, who is my physiotherapist. That's been working for me for 6 years, and she was your physiotherapist like 8 years ago. I only realized from the photo when I was printing it out that I recognized her.
Yeah, it was actually just across the road, Mount E.
Yeah.
Is like obviously in the hospital you don't know how to go upstairs when you're in a boot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because she always shows people how to use crutches properly as well.
Yeah.
So it must have been something similar. So how much rehab did you do?
There.
Yeah, back then.
It was one session in
One
the middle
session?
of the hospital.
Oh, okay. But rehab in general, did you have continuous rehab?
Yeah, it was kind of at the time not like super intense. I didn't really know what rehab was.
Yeah.
All I
So if you did,
physio.
so knowing it as a physio, almost a physio right now, right? And someone walks in like this, would you be telling them to do much more rehab than you actually did?
Yeah, way more. Because I feel like I did do like what I would tell someone to do.
Yeah.
I barely did any rehab for it or like strengthening us.
So you just rested it and let your body heal itself.
Yeah.
Right.
And even up to now, my cars are like different size 6 years later.
Yeah.
Which is
And
such
does
a
your ankle have the same mobility on your right as it does on the left?
yes.
Okay.
Like I worked on the ankle, but it's still a problem. Yeah, because of the car size. Yeah.
Okay. So that was 2018.
Yeah.
Right. And you said that you got to the SEA Games 2019 and got a medal, right? So then was most of 2018 just a bust? You just wouldn't do much,
Yeah.
and then you were just getting back into it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't remember when Hong Kong was, probably mid-year. And then I recovered to the end of the year, and the SEA Games was in December, so I had like the whole year.
So you basically beginning of 2019, you're somewhat training again, getting back into it.
Yeah. I remember still the initial period of rehab was kind of walk-run thing.
Yeah.
So it was literally a jog, and I couldn't even jog for like 30 seconds.
And I'm assuming you didn't have an Ultra G
No,
access to an Ultra G, right?
no. So if I knew that, it's that would be good. Yeah.
We would have had that in 2018.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know, right? Okay. Then, did you think of giving up completely the sport when this happened, or was this like just another setback that you were just going to put behind you? You knew that you're going to put behind you right away.
I think this one I wasn't mature enough to think about like quitting or anything.
Yep.
I was quite eager at that age because it was very new. I was very new in triathlon.
Yep.
Still. But 2022. Yeah.
So when you got hit by the car in 2022, right?
And that was when I was like, I'm done.
You really thought that? You really thought. So what happened then? Were you out on the training ride? Was it in Singapore that happened?
So I was, oh no, this is quite tragic. So many crashes. But yeah, in 2022, I was, actually, I live in like quite close to Sports Hub. So I was on the way to Sports Hub. And then like this road, I don't actually remember because I concussed that. Wow. But I remember like, I would guess that I went like straight into a car and back windscreen was all smashed.
Oh. So you ran into the back of a car.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I don't know if the car was moving or stationary. So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
yeah.
And then that put you out
Yeah.
again.
So I when face burst, so that's how I have facial scar. Cause
Oh, yeah, you do a little bit of a scar there, right?
yeah, this whole thing was actually like glass. It was like it cut my whole face, and then my face was like a flat.
Oh, nice. So, but
Yeah, but yeah, I was like quite like my self confidence, everything.
Of course.
Like, was out the window, and then
like knee, fine, foot, spine, right?
Physical.
You just wear pants, right? But your face is your face, right? And then you got a flappy face. It's the way.
Yeah.
So you had stitches and stuff in
Yeah.
your face for a while.
Yeah.
So then you thought, lying in the hospital, I'm done.
I think it was more like the gravity of the situation also,
I could
because
have died.
I could have died, and like I was kind of scared to go back on the bike, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to race at that speed or like even around the road in the first place as well. So that kind of like put me off for a little bit, and I think also studying physio didn't really help because you know what's happening, and but you see patients, and especially now in year 4 and you're exposed to more bone crack, and like that could have been me or like, anything, and so at that time I was like, I don't know if I want to go that. But then I just took some time off and mentally kind of
reset.
And then I was like, okay, I had a conversation with my parents, and I was like, I still have a lot more to achieve in the sport. I think I haven't reached where
So it's 2022, you said, right?
Yeah.
Which you already got your SEA Games medals, right?
Yeah.
So you,
not individual. So.
there's still not individual, right? We'll talk about that in a little while. I think that's on my to-do list. But then, so what did you just get back on the trainer at like a stationary trainer and just grind it out for a little while, and then in baby steps you get short rides on the road?
Yeah. So because initially because of the scar, the nerve was kind of damaged, so I couldn't get it wet or anything. I couldn't really swim. But I was mainly on the trainer because of like how scared I was.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah, and then after that, I slowly kind of gradual exposure. I think you get there.
And then once your scars have physically, I guess, and mentally healed, start running again. You start getting the swing of things. It's like if you just forget slowly. It gets further and further away. You never forget it, but it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right, in the distance. And then, I guess, by the time you get to 23, you're back in business because you won the Net Champs that year again, right? Right. So, now that you are 100% again, what sort of training do you do now? As living in Perth, Australian dream, right? Always sunny. You can train in the morning, you can train in the afternoon.
Winter.
You can ride in the daytime because they've got good bike paths and stuff. Here, like running daily, it's so easy. How many hours a week are you putting into training?
If I'm not on prac, so because I'm on my final year, like 5 weeks of prac and 5 blocks of that throughout this year. So usually on prac is only like 16, 17 max.
Okay.
It's literally like how much.
Because you're working around a full-time job, basically, right?
I do a full-time job. Yep. But then if I'm not uni.
Summer holidays when there's no school.
22.
20. So you're in the 20s.
21, 23, yeah.
And you're with Eclipse, right? In Perth. Is that coach also Stuart Durham?
Durham, yeah.
Is it something where you show up and you do squad sessions with the same people in the same pool, and then you run together and you bike together, or is it he's giving you an individual training program that only you are following? So
a lot of us, it's individual plan, but we do have squad sessions through the week, but not every session squad. So at least Tuesday, Thursdays are always squad. Monday morning and afternoon. Except Thursday. But usually we do have at least once a day of squad sessions. Okay. Tuesdays we have twice a day. Just because Stuart also works as a mechanic. He's a mechanic at Giant, actually.
Oh, I like bike mechanic, not a car mechanic.
Yeah, Giant Osman Park. So he's a...
Oh, I know Giant Osman Park.
Yeah.
Upper Beach Road.
Yeah. So he's a mechanic. So some of them work as well. So we kind of have sessions that we have to do by ourselves, the aerobic sessions, mainly aerobic sessions that are by ourselves. Yeah, so they go to that.
Because a lot of triathletes at your level don't do the squad sessions, right? Yeah. They'll just do all individual, like they got a remote coach, and then they'll just be slogging it out themselves, right? Do you enjoy the squad sessions?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm a very people person, so I'm very motivated by like going for sessions, is there people? If there's like less people, I'm a bit less motivated, which is bad.
I get it, because I used to swim, and swimming's all squad sessions, right? But now I go for a swim by myself, and if you're not feeling it, you might just slack off 5 seconds, 100 meters, or whatever, or just do some kick and stuff. But in a squad, if you're not feeling it and you're kind of slacking off, someone's touching your toes, right? Or someone's right there, and you kind of have to stay on the program, otherwise it's just disrupts everyone else as well, right?
Yeah, so I feel like squad sessions are very fun kind of sessions.
Yeah. So you're doing, it's not just, so it's 20 hours of, so 3 hours a day, right? Basically, can't do all that in the afternoon, right? Is it like an hour in the morning, 2 at night, or how you?
Usually the mornings will be swim an hour and a half and then gym. Some rides are like 2 hours, depending on the day, because we usually alternate sessions.
So you said swim an hour and a half,
Yeah.
and then gym,
Yeah.
and then you get
Mandarin
track,
ones,
right?
Yeah.
Or at uni, or wherever, right?
Very
So,
different, yeah.
so if you're doing 2.5 hours before school, does that mean that you're doing it from
1.5 to 2 hours before.
2 hours? So let's just say 2 hours before school. Let's just say school starts at 9. You can't be doing that until 9, so you finish at 8. So you like at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, all sessions start at 5:30.
They do.
Yeah, like our students are 5:30 in the morning to 7.
Yeah.
And then
Have a shower, and then you go straight to the gym and do some weights and mobility exercises and stuff.
But rides are usually, we meet at 5:30, but I start at 5:20 just because I ride from home.
Oh, and yeah, in the evening.
Morning.
Oh, in what rides? Okay.
But afternoons are like 5:30 usually.
Okay.
5:30 instead of.
God, okay. The life of an endurance athlete, right? And then you do most of your training in Perth because you live in Perth, right? When you come back to Singapore, is there a big adjustment to how you train differently here than do over there? Not just the squads, but like is it harder? Is it hotter, or is it?
I think it's harder to find motivation just because we don't have a squad here.
Yeah.
But then
And you have your own bed as well.
Yeah. I don't know why, but it's like in Perth, my bedtime's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But when I come to Singapore, it's like 10:30, 11. And then like the day just,
That happens to me here as well.
the day starts later and ends later, which is harder to get up. But then, I try to find people to train with. And yeah.
I totally understand, because every once in a while when I'm at home visiting my parents, I'm like sitting there and it's 9 o'clock and look outside and it's pitch black and I run out of things to do. And it's like, it's like, what I do now, and then you turn on TV, the TV sucks, right? So you just.
Some magic in the air. It's like, makes you very sleepy.
But then the sun rises at 5.
Yeah. So a lot of us start our day a lot. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then SEA Games, you've done SEA Games twice. 3 times, sorry, 3 times. But the 2 medals that you've gotten are relay medals, right? This coming SEA Games is at the end of this year, right, in Thailand. Yeah. Are you going all in for an individual medal?
Yeah.
This time around?
I really want to.
Is it like stuck on your chalkboard at home and?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, gold is the ultimate aim.
Of course, yes.
I mean, it's been a dream of mine to kind of get an individual medal, and like my late grandpa passed away. He told my grandma like I would just want my grandkid to have a medal at SEA Games, and I think that's been at the back of my head for a very long time.
Yep.
But yeah, like it's a very big dream of mine just to get an individual medal, gold. But like I don't care what color it is anymore because I've missed like 3 SEA Games already, so I just want medal.
So what? How strong are the? I know the Filipinos are always strong, and the Thais, Indonesia's quite strong, right? How close are you to them? Do you beat them in other like? Are there some races that you've beaten them before, and other races that they beat you, or is there one guy that's like one woman that's like super, and everyone else is just fighting for second place? You know,
I don't know if it's something that I can say on podcast, but there is like a French, but she's. Like
Cambodia. I've heard of that. I've heard about those.
You heard about it?
I've heard about the French in Cambodia that are Cambodians.
Yeah, but she's pretty much like World Triathlon level. I mean, like at the WT level, the high level. But I would say that if we kind of put the other countries come together, we could actually like be closer to her. Not that we would.
If she has a bad day and you a good day,
there's always like possibilities. Right? It's not always like you don't know what's going to happen in the race.
Yep.
But yeah, there's like Indonesia, Philippines, all of us race together quite often. So there's a few of us that are always starting from a little. Yeah.
Yep. And then, Phil, do you think it takes 20 hours a week of training to be at the level that you want to be? Or would you even prefer to have more time to do more training and more recovery and stuff? For Luke, right? Luke's doing 30 hours a week. And 2 weeks ago, I had his coach, Matt Bury, on podcast. And Matt basically said, you want to be at world-class level, you got to be doing at least 30 hours a week. Otherwise, you're just going to be left behind. Basically, you need to be, that's just to get your foot in the door, to be playing on the same field, right? Otherwise, you're just not going to be competitive, right? So your magic number is like 20, 25-ish hours, you think?
I would say, like, for me personally, I've done 24 is my highest. And that's when I really like working 3 sessions a day.
Yep. At the end of the Sunday of that week, are you like completely wasted?
I'm like smashed.
Yeah.
I don't know how Luke does 30 hours. It's quite crazy to me.
Yeah. That's like adding an hour. Just adding an hour a day.
Does it? Yeah.
It's almost adding an hour a day to all those days, right?
Yeah. Literally 24 is my max. I'm smashed for 24. So like I think 23, 22, 33, I'm really training 3 sessions a day.
But don't forget, you're also going to school.
Yeah. As in, if I'm just training, 23 hours is already a lot.
Yeah.
As a person who's training full time, nothing to do. But obviously you need like recovery that takes a lot of time during the day. So I would say that for me, 22, 23 would be what I would need to be able to perform at somewhere like a level that I want to be at.
And then so they always measure the previous SEA Games time is almost the bronze medal time of previous SEA Games is now the qualifying time for Singapore. Have you already got qualified for that? So you've beaten the bronze medal time for the last time?
I've done at least 2 or 3 races that hit those times.
Okay.
So I would say that's good data points.
Yes.
But obviously ultimately it depends on them.
Of course. And then, yes, of course. And then it depends on what happens in the race, right?
Yeah.
Have you swum the course before, or have you raced on that? Yeah, in Thailand?
No.
It's not something like sometimes they have the same courses all the time, right?
But Thailand's different. Subic based, obviously every year we go to Subic.
Yes.
But no, Thailand I've never gone to. I don't even know it's Bangkok or Lyon. Probably Lyon.
I have no idea.
I've never done.
Okay, so let's just say you do well. SEA Games, you come home with a gold medal. You're not going to retire, right? Olympics is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Would that be the bucket list sort of ultimate goal, 2028 LA Olympics?
I kind of gave myself until like 29.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I would want to go to Olympics. It's like somewhere that I would want to be at.
Mm-hmm.
But the road to there is like steep and crazy. But
so,
that's where I want to go.
Go back to my homework, right? You're currently 247th ranked in the world, right?
It went up.
Oh, it went up. So this is from Subic, right? It might have gone up. Okay, so
after Putrajaya, which is like February was like 218.
Okay, so 218. So let's just say 200-ish.
Yeah.
But the Olympics is top 50 or so, right? What are you going to need to do to get from 200 to 50?
Gonna win
Cup. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You have to
World Cups.
So the points will come from podiums, right?
So points is, so for example at Conti Cup, so every level of racing, the higher the level of the race, like for Conti Cups, World Cups, and then like so on and so forth.
It's Conti Cup. No, it's Conti Cup the same as Asian Cup?
Yeah.
So Asian Cup, okay.
Conti Cup.
And then you got the World Cups, which is the one that Luke just did last week, right?
Yeah, the Asian Chats and then World Cup.
And so World Triathlon is the elite, top level, right?
So World Cups is like, pretty much you get a certain ranking and then you can get onto the list if you have a wait list and there's not enough spots they fill you in.
Yep.
Then after that you get into WTCS and then after the Olympics.
So WTCS is the highest level of just regular competition, right? So you're gonna have to be very consistent in the contis.
Yeah.
And which will get you into the door of the
like high level
races.
Yeah. But you can only get points if you're within 8% of the winner's time. and like a race. And obviously the high level of race, you get more points.
Yep.
But then if you're within 8%, it goes down. Yeah.
Okay. So if someone completely blows away the field, they're starting to get some points at the. Everyone else is fighting for the few points left. Oh god.
That happened in Fujidai last year. Where like Julia Duran, she's in the
Oh yeah, she's
second.
T100, right?
Yeah, she was in the second Olympics.
Yes, she was.
And then she came for Fujidai and
Right.
and then she was like 10 minutes or like wow. A lot of people just to get points in that race.
Yeah. And so in terms of training, is it just stay consistent, or you have to step up your training as well to get to if you wanted to be in the Olympics level?
Yeah, I think you do need to get to like the pro athlete kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that you get more time in training, and then
Yes. Okay.
recovery is always very important. And in order to do well, I believe that these are the factors that you need to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And consistency, definitely.
So, if you were going to tell that younger self here, or even the younger self before, some words of advice, right? What would you tell them to sort of? What are the top things that you've learned along the way which really resonate with you? I know hard work beats talent, right? Is your mantra?
Wait, what was that from?
Don't ask me where I get this from, but
I remember saying that some article, but I don't remember where.
So what would you tell your younger self? What works and what doesn't work?
I think knowing your body best, because obviously everyone's very different. You work differently. Even up to now, I'm still trying to figure out what my training should be like and what works for me, what doesn't. If hard training throughout the week works for someone, it may not work for you.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to find what works best.
And that especially goes for things like nutrition and recovery as well.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because what if you're vegan and you think this is great, it might not work for the person right next to you, right?
Yeah. So obviously nutrition, recovery, everything, and I think putting in the hours and the work and being consistent and injury free.
Yeah.
That's very important. And
a lot of people don't realize, it sounds really cliche, being injury free helps you, right? Of course it does, but it's the time that you're not training while you're injured actually pulls you down because you're not going forward, you're actually going backwards, right? So it's not just obviously you've got a bad knee, you can't work, but it's because you're not doing the training, you're not getting better, and because you're not getting better, you're sort of getting left behind, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So consistency,
Well, same thing, injury free helps you be consistent.
Yes.
And then after that, you can think about putting in the work to training.
Are you bright and chirpy at 5:30 in the morning every training session, or are you a grumpy bum that takes a few strokes before you smile again?
I'm definitely not like a morning person but I don't have a choice because my training starts. But I'm in the morning. Just don't talk to me.
So, especially in the winter, right? In the winter in Australia, you get to the pool, there's like mists and fog because the pool was 25 degrees, and then the outside temperature is like 8. And it's so hard to get in that.
I literally, after Tom 2, I leave on Friday, and then I go back to like winter in Australia, and I'm not looking for it. It's like 10 degrees, and then you swim in an outdoor pool.
Yeah.
And the worst is like taking out your clothes and going in, and then like having to get out after.
Okay, so Herlene, what's next for you? Just you're going back to Perth, back into winter, back into the grind.
Yeah, back
to prac. So when are you done with all your pracs? So graduation is normally at the end, like the school year normally finishes in like December, right? And then graduation is somewhere in April.
Yeah.
Are you still on track to make that cycle, or are you going to be on a cycle after that?
No, so this year I was like, I'm going all in physio.
Okay.
And then try to finish my degree.
This year?
August and plan, I kind of finished by October, like my pracs. So I have at least 2 months to train for CN.
Oh, so you'll be done with all yours.
Yeah.
All your credits will be done by October.
But we have honors, so it's like project this, and then that's some exams after that. But it's mainly my pracs are done in October, and then I come a bit more time to train. Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll pass everything.
Yeah, come on.
No, it's always hard, So when everyone goes to practice, they're like, just want to pass. Well, also it's important because you're getting skills.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Do you know what sort of physio that you want to be?
Not yet, actually.
Yeah.
I used to really want to do mask, which is like musculoskeletal.
Yeah, which is what we do with the
Yeah.
sport, right? But,
Yeah. But then I did my neuroprac and I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Like, it's literally so interesting because
Yeah.
you see so many different things.
and the good thing about physio in Australia is you probably end up with some football team or cricket team or something going to your clinic, right?
I did Australian footy for 3 years.
Yeah, and Australian football is all about, ACL tears, MCL tears, and that sort of
It
stuff.
was very
But you see so many of them in such a volume that you almost become a master because of just doing it every day and taping and doing that. And that sort of environment doesn't exist in Singapore, having that so many so many sports teams in such competitive sports teams like that at that level, right?
I think, we're lucky in that sense where I could do that was my work. I did part-time work,
Yep.
but that was where I did my mask, exposure for 3 years. Yeah, so that was good. Yeah.
Okay, Billy. Thank you so much for coming in. The best way to get a hold of you, is it Herlene Natasha Yu on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to you right there and follow your training and then see you at the SEA Games at the end of this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
With a medal.
Yes, with that gold medal. Okay.
Thank you so much.
No worries.